It is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show, Governor of Texas 2022. We are in Studio 22, the mothership, Puppet Master Mark, driving us into the nether regions, all things gubernatorial. Candice. Let me tell you something funny, Candice. You know how if you Google your name, or if you Google a topic and you scroll down below the links, it will give you a list of other things that have been Googled in relation with that.
Exactly, yes.
Do you know what the fourth down on the list? Like you'll have Chad Prather, where does Chad Prather live? You'll have what is Chad Prather's net worth? You'll see who is Chad Prather's ex-wife. Number 4, Chad Prather, Candace. Can you believe?
Interesting.
Got to spell it with an I, not an A, folks. That's the way that goes.
That's the kicker.
I'm not in the top 4.
You're not even in the top
Yes.
10.
What have I been doing my whole life?
Yeah, Party Foul Steve. Have you Googled Party Foul Steve?
I actually have Google Alerts set up. So there's this killer in Washington State that killed like his whole
Named Party
family and
Foul
stuff
Steve.
and kids. So
I had an interesting little episode that happened to me, last week sometime, where this guy disagreed with me on Instagram. And I had made the comment on Twitter. I said, Herman Cain, unpopular fact, Herman Cain did more for black people than John Lewis did. All right. I'm not pitting two great black men against one another. I can appreciate, but I'm pointing out that conservatism tends to do better than liberalism in terms of how it benefits the black community. Very unpopular opinion, very unpopular fact. So a guy disagreed with me on that, and I made the comment back. I said, where do you trolls come from, right? Because they just pop up out of nowhere. So this guy got on whitepages.com, paid the $2, and found everything there was to find about a Chad Prather. Every cell phone number that a Chad Prather's ever had. He put it on a group text with every freaking phone number that was on that list. I did happen to be, one of my phones was actually on that thing. And he starts sending me group texts trying to call me out. Well, other people are responding back. He thinks he's talking to me. So now he's having an argument with complete and total strangers that have no damn clue. Then he starts trying to call on the phone. He's calling everybody. And I'm like, what level of mental insanity? So I just start putting it on the Instagram
you should just give me your phone number. I wouldn't have to go through all that.
I understand. Well, I just started putting it on the Instagram story because I found it funny. Our network president, Gaston, he called me. He said, dude, just let it go. And I'm like, no, this is fun. He goes, well, yeah, but if social media thinks you're trying to cancel somebody, then, I'm like, this guy, whatever. So, Gaston, I'm talking about Gaston. Well, whatever, Gaston. So anyway, listen, hang on. So the guy finally, I'm responding back to him on Instagram, and he says to me, you blocked me on here. That's censorship. And then I find out, well, obviously when you unleash the army, thousands of people are now looking into this guy, calling him on the phone. They're spamming him. They're doing all this stuff, which I did not advocate for and did not encourage anybody to do. But his phone number was right there. So if you're going to do it to me, equal fair play. So anyway, we found out he used to work at the post office. Well, that's a big old fat no-no. I mean, I could have really railed him on that one. But then somebody sends me a message and said, that dude, he works at the Lowe's in Enterprise, Arizona. I just saw him last week. And so, sure shit, we found out that that's what it was. But I was like, who takes that level of passion? That level of passion that you're going to go find somebody and find their stuff. It's crazy.
He could have saved his $2, Venmo'd me $1, and I'd have gave him your phone
given
number.
him all the information.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to do your arrest records. We're going to talk about your spousal abuse stuff, because there was that Chad Prather in whatever, Atlanta, Georgia, that had the standoff with SWAT after slapping his wife around. What, Candace?
When I got hired onto the show, I Googled your name, and that was the first thing that came up. And I was like, he seems fun, interesting, different.
Yeah, that guy. I don't know what happened to that guy. He had a standoff with SWAT, though, and they finally got him. I think he slapped a wife and kid around a little bit. So if you do that, that's one of the things that pops up. Look, we know I have been arrested, but for far lesser things. I'm friends with the law now. And
you're not a violent person anyway.
No, not at all.
Never seen you
I don't
violent.
like to hurt. And even if you win the fight, you hurt, right? I mean, if you punch somebody, it still hurts. But anyway, yeah. So he was like, I'm going to put your medical records out there. I'm like, bro, do you not understand that when I had abdominal surgery, we had a shit watch for 2 days where we were live feed videoing in the bathroom because they wouldn't let me go home until I took a shit. And we had live shit watch in the hospital waiting on me to have a bowel movement. There's really nothing about me you can't find out in less than 30 seconds.
All you do is watch the show. You live your life out loud. Every day.
Everybody. Dude, I am transparent. Listen, TAC Pack. TAC Pack's the premier monthly subscription box for military tactical prepper and Second Amendment enthusiasts for just $49.95 a month. You're going to get at least $100 worth of gear, sometimes up to $150, $200 worth of stuff. Comes from different companies like 511, Sons of Liberty, Gunworks, Mission First, Tactical, Arma Spec, and a whole lot more. They're going to send you AR-15 parts and accessories, EDC tools, knives, and gear to keep you prepared for when the poo-poo hits the fan, and it's already smearing all over the wall right now. September pack is full of AR gear and a self-defense piece from CKRT that could really come in handy during these wild times. Past 3 months have sold out early, so get signed up for the September pack ASAP. Use promo code CHAD at checkout. They're going to send you a free extra bag of tactical goodies when you use that code. It's going to ship out with your first pack, so don't wait. They're flying off the shelves. People are signing up every single day. Go to tacpack.com. Sign up today. That's tacpack, TACpack.com. Use offer code CHAD. Big show today. Hang tight. You know how it is whenever we have folks that are regulars on here, I give them a nickname, and Sydney Watson's in the hot seat. She was on with us yesterday for a little while, and I'm twisting her arm, Sydney. I'm trying to get you, I want you on here from time to time because you're our level of smartass.
Well, I think if you're going to actually, proposition this properly, there has to be food involved.
Food?
I'm not a hard woman to please, but I need...
Okay, let me explain to you how we normally do things. Coronavirus has screwed it all up. Normally we tape on Mondays and Tuesdays. Let me tell you what happens. There's a place around the corner called the Ranch. Everybody knows we go to the Ranch. Mm-hmm. We eat, we drink, we're merry, we have a good time. It's a big party, and I pay for all of it.
So I was going to get food, but now there's no food?
No, well, we can still make that happen.
I feel...
now that things are opening back up, that we can still make that happen.
Well, then I'm listening.
There you go.
I'm listening.
But our parties are they're historical and hysterical, aren't they? And I miss those days, Puppet Master. I miss those days of a dozen of us sitting around for the longest time. You know what I'm talking about?
They're coming back.
Let Mark talk.
I was just going to say those were the days.
Those were the days. We used to always talk about going over to the Ranch. And it was funny how many people used to show up to this show to hang out for the tapings just so we'd go to the Ranch for the eating and the drinking.
Well, I mean, if you're getting drunk and doing untoward things, I think that's probably worth it then, hey?
Typically, that's the way it goes. Sydney. And she's got the Australian accent, which is perfect, so I've been calling her Sydney. Because she's Aussie and Sydney. Aussie. I don't know if I like it yet or not, but I'm playing with it. Sydney.
Okay. Well.
People will love it. You'll find out that people will start referring to you as Sydney.
We've got Vampire Lord at the moment. That's what my followers are running with.
That one might have some traction right there.
Apparently I don't age. They've come to this conclusion. They dug up these videos, and I say I mean my wonderful subscribers and things, my people, my community. They dug up these videos, really like 10-year-old videos of me playing music, because I used to play music on YouTube, and they're like, she doesn't age. She doesn't.
No.
Yeah, so, and she's 75 years old.
I am. I'm actually, if you Google me, I'm actually 91.
Oh,
and sleeps in a coffin. It's weird.
I do.
Love it.
I drink people's blood. What can I say?
Just keep wood away from her.
We got, bathe in them sometimes.
This is fascinating stuff to me. I love it. So we were all at dinner the other night, and I asked you, and we won't go into that, but I asked you how old you were. I felt like I knew you well enough at that point I could just ask you. You're older than I thought. You're not old, but you're older than I thought. So
I'm not old. That's good. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
no,
you're not old. I'm old. You're Steve's old.
Oh,
I'm
Steve.
not that old.
Steve.
You're not that old, but you are still old.
The internet like prematurely ages you too, I think. I
think
mean,
it
in the
does.
sense that everyone's wrong about how old you are. Like famous birthdays thinks I'm 30. I'm not. I mean, like I'm younger than that.
Yeah.
But also when people are screaming at you and stalking you and trying to find information out about you and calling you, Chad. I mean, like, I wouldn't worry too much.
I was watching a video of myself from 3 years ago, and I couldn't believe in 3 years how much I've aged. Like, I looked so young just 3 years ago.
Being overweight will age you.
That's a dick move right there, man. I mean, that is a dick move. But you're right. I have gained weight, and I will lose it.
You look good, though.
I will lose it. Well, I look better than Greg Abbott. That's for sure.
He can't work out though, so that's not very fair.
But he did.
Upper
I mean,
body.
he's in great shape. He's in great shape. Someone said the other day, they said, you even look better than McConaughey, and he's running. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I've had certain levels of asses kissed. That is a whole new level of ass kissing. Yeah. I said, now maybe when he was in Dallas Buyers Club.
Starving.
or Wolf of Wall Street, which he made simultaneously, and he weighed $115. Maybe there, but no. That's a good looking man. That is a I'm gonna digress. That's a handsome man. So anyway, we're back at it. Sydney, what all are you doing on social media? I know you got the YouTube channel, and you came from Australia, and just suddenly decided you don't like liberals.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was at university. I was doing my Master of Journalism, and I would listen to these kids in my class talk, and I would think, Lord help us if you're the people presenting information to the world. So I was like, I'm just going to start giving my opinion publicly, and we sort of ended up from point A to point B, and here I am talking to you.
I know.
It was really just, that sort of very clear cut. I was in school, and now I'm here.
And you've been in America how many years?
One.
One.
Just one.
And you got so you're technically neighbors with Elijah and Kez Schaefer.
Yeah.
And Kez, of course, is from Brisbane, which I asked her right off the bat when I met her. Did she tell you that story?
No.
I was like, you're from Brisbane. And she goes, how do you know that? And I said, I can hear the accent. Yours I couldn't pick out.
Well, also my accent is just this disgusting hybrid at this point because, my mom's, people don't realize this, but my mom is actually American. I don't just sound like this because I'm imitating Americans badly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I was going to pick an accent, it would probably be a proper Australian one rather than this mashup, this bad mashup. So.
I love it. I love going to Australia because what I discovered is not only does the cowboy hat work wonders,
yes,
but
and the accent.
The accent. It's the same as when Australian men come here and you women hear that and you're like, oh dear God, I got the fevers. When we go there and talk to people, apparently they're somewhat attracted to that as well.
The Southern accent definitely, I think, is much, much more appealing than, say, your stock standard like Californian American accent, because we hear that all the time on television.
Yeah.
Then when you get like a Southerner, like someone from Tennessee or the like, you'd be like, okay.
And see, having grown up in Georgia, because of just the nature of what I do, I have to mute my Southern accent a little bit because otherwise no one would know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I heard myself recorded as an adult for the first time when I was 19, and I said, I can't talk like that.
Do it. Give us, please.
You don't want to hear none of that.
Oh, please.
You don't, girl. You drop the R's. Like my grandmother went to Hawaii years before she passed away. She went to Hawaii. She took a trip to Hawaii. So we had to spend all the rest of her life listening to her trip to How Are You? How are you? Well, how are you? So I mean, when I get around other Southerners, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
You get around Australians, it starts to come around.
My dad calls me and suddenly I'm swearing nonstop.
Exactly. And what's funny about that too is I keep talking about like what swear words in say the UK would be swear words here, and they're not swear words in the UK. And I spent a lot of time in African former British colonies where they still use British colloquialisms over there. And you're like, and you get around these missionaries who are over there and they're like, oh, they said shit. Well, I mean, that's what they call it.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's even words like bastard. I don't know if I can even say that.
Of course
See, I don't even know what I can say in this country. I'm always self-censoring.
You can say anything. We just encourage people. Well, Sarah Gonzalez says everything. So Just don't say the F word because
It's
then
actually
Candace
white
has
men
to
that
bleep
can't
it.
say anything. So
This is
they're
true.
the ones
Straight
that
white
get in
men.
big trouble when they say anything.
Get
at
in
all.
the bin. Yep.
Yeah.
It's no, I mean, like, you're right. Like, I mean, I definitely swear like a trooper, a lot. And the C word, I mean, some Aussies would disagree with this, but the C word in Australia is almost like a term of endearment sometimes. Like, you can definitely
It's
chuck
that way
out.
in Ireland too.
Yeah, and in the
Yeah.
UK. Well, in some parts of the UK.
UK a lot.
Can we say bloody on here?
Okay.
See, he did it. We just
Mark
sat
that.
there and
No,
said
I'm
it.
asking if we can.
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Maybe if you had like an actual like super ochre Australian, then it would be okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, that's like part of the vernacular. So
Like the more time I spend in, say, Ireland, and I love going to Ireland, usually a couple times a year, I find myself hearing that with less trepidation.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just say that what Steve did was a very cunning stunt. It was a very cunning stunt. But so anyway, I digress. Hi, Mom. It's
Now,
party time.
like you said, it was a kind of a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Like when we say, "Oh, that's my bitch."
yeah, well,
Like
exactly.
that's my friend. So,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So that's wow.
But I mean, like,
Okay.
if you mash that, so Aussie slang's really fun. You can change the meaning of the C word depending on what you put before it. So if you put shit before it, then you have just called someone like a bad word.
Yeah.
But if you say good before it, then they're a good person and
That's
they're
a good-
probably
you're
your
like a
mate.
bloke.
Like you're a good dude. But it's all dependent upon what you're mashing together with the C word
Yeah.
as to whether or not we're offended by it, I guess.
Isn't that interesting, though? And to make a serious point out of all of this, language has always fascinated me. I've always been good at languages. I've taught dead languages in the university setting, right? Like Koine, Marketplace Greek, and Hebrew, and even Aramaic to some degree. And those languages, they come easy to me, right? So when I hear that, and then you hear how different we are in the things we place meaning on. We're the ones who place meaning on the words to make them a, quote, bad word.
Very true.
And in other parts of the world, it's not a bad word. That's why I believe in colorful language. My mother says to me all the time, she's like, I love the show, just don't cuss. And I'm like, but it's all relative. People in the
Right.
UK listen to this show. And then you have people, we get bleeped out. Remember, we used to get bleeped out all the time. And people were like, stop bleeping things out, Candace. We want to hear it.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. See, that means something different in the South.
That's a Southern.
I would never say that
Has
to
anyone
you.
said bless your heart since you've been here?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's
no.
good. They say bless your
People have called me like pet names, like like
Yeah, they do.
love
Honey,
and
sugar.
like yeah.
Oh, love's okay.
And
Yeah.
like sugar is a big one too. Yeah. No, I want to keep an eye.
I call if I'm out, I'm glad the Me Too movement is basically an over thing, right? Because it's so 2019.
Thank you.
Because I've always been honey, darling, dear baby. I've always done that. I say it to old ladies, like if I'm at the Waffle House and she brings me a cup of coffee, I'm like, thank you, baby. And like to me, that's just a Southern, like again, the honey, darling, dear and stuff like that is terms of endearment depending on where you are. I caught myself in the most awkward situation in LA. I was in Beverly Hills, actually, and I was at the store, and this lady was coming with a baby carriage, and I was coming out of this department store, and I opened the door and held it for her, and then I caught myself. I was like, oh, my God, is this going to be offensive to her? Because we're in Beverly Hills, right? And so now I can't just drop the door. She's got a baby carriage, for crying out loud. But I was like in this mortal fear all of a sudden, like, how is this reaction going to go down?
That's so sad.
Yeah, that is
Is
sad.
this woman going to think that I'm being rude or thinking that she's weak? No, that's just how I am. Like,
but you would do that for a man, though. It's not exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that a lot of men, particularly in the in Australia too, they will hold the door open for you because you are a woman. But most people will do that just for each other. I don't
Well,
know.
I would do it for
feminism-
Steve.
Yes.
Anybody.
I do it for Mark. If
just
they're walking
courtesy.
out behind me or something like that, we're walking out of the studio, I'm going to hold that door till everybody's out of it.
Yeah.
That's just how you do it. But anyway, she was gracious and she said thank you. But she did have her hands full. But it's funny how things are interpreted differently in different places. Because, I have said, oh, thanks, honey. Or I don't say honey really, but,
I say
hun,
darling.
I'll say hun or darling or thank you, darling. And
I've caught myself saying love sometimes. and
I
don't
say
know-
love all the time. I say
I
thank
don't know
you,
if
love.
that's like good or bad or.
I love it.
I do it all
I
the
do
time,
too.
and I'm not going to change. I will always, because it's not a condescending. Like I say it because I genuinely do feel affection for people when I meet them, especially somebody that's serving me. Right? You're serving me. I'm not being condescending towards you. I genuinely am showing my appreciation.
I think when I talk to my wife.
And when I say serving, of course, I'm talking about in a restaurant
thanks, love,
or
something like that. And then when I go use it on somebody else, she would think that, because that's special to her, and probably I should keep it special.
Well, I asked my wife. I was like, "Does it bother you when I do that?" She's like, I know you."
If it pisses someone off, they're looking to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, women, not all women, but particularly women who identify with feminism, they're so hypersensitive to everything and anything that when you do use innocuous terms like love, darling, whatever, in a setting that's completely appropriate, you're not coming on to that person, you're just expressing, gratitude for what they're doing. They're like, oh, I can't stand it. I want to punch them sometimes. I would never do it, but I just feel this sense of like, oh my God.
And they do.
Yes, they do.
They look for an opening to be, like you said, pissed off.
Angry.
And it's like, what are you doing?
Well, I'll tell you
Just
what.
accept a nice man. For goodness sake. It's not difficult.
It's hard to find a nice man.
It really is. It's very hard.
Golly.
I say this as a perpetually single female. It's so hard to find a nice man.
There it is. Boom.
Call me love and darling, guys. Come on.
There you go.
Flood my comments.
Here's the thing, darlings, about home security companies. Most trap you with high prices, tricky contracts, lousy customer support. I know. I've been there. I've experienced it. So while there are a lot of options out there, only one no-brainer, Simply Safe. Simply Safe's got everything you need to protect your home with none of the drawbacks of traditional home security. It's got an arsenal of sensors and cameras to blanket every room, window, and door tailored specifically for your home. Professional monitoring keeps watch day and night, 24/7, ready to send police, fire, or medical professionals if there's an emergency. You can set it up yourself in under an hour. Just peel and stick the sensors exactly where you need them. No technician required, and there's no contract. No pushy sales guys. No hidden fees. No fine print. All this starts at just $15 a month. I'm not the only one who thinks Simply Safe is great. U.S. News & World Report named it the best overall home security of 2020. So try Simply Safe today at Simply Safe. That's SIMPLI safe.com/watchchad. You're going to get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. There's nothing to lose. SimplySafe.com/watchchad. Be right back. Hey, we're back. Let's get into some videos. These are fun. I always love looking at the videos. The news videos, things that are going on, because we're going to be in Salt Lake City at Wise Guys Comedy Club this weekend. So if you don't have your tickets, go to watchchad.com. Get your tickets. Come hang out with us. We're going to be there this Friday and Saturday night. That's the 7th and the 8th, right? Isn't that sound about right? Yeah. So whatever Friday and Saturday night is. I got a fun little video here from Utah. You want to see the suburbs? I keep saying the violence. They're trying to bring this nonsense to the suburbs. Better be careful, folks. Utah is not a place I'd pick out to do this, but let's run that video real quick. So these people are just throwing each other around in the street. This could be any town, USA.
Back off! Back off! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Cops are throwing people around a little bit. So did you see the one dude get thrown down on the ground? I'm assuming that was a dude with real long hair. Mm-hmm. See, that's why military people get their head shaved. That's why cops shave their head, because that becomes a weapon against you when you have really long hair and you get into a fight and you get snatched, get a knot snatched in your ass. And you get thrown down
female police officers, I think, French braid it or
Yeah.
bun it or
you don't want to get something
it.
that gets pulled around. The cops were doing that.
Yeah.
Do we know the backstory on that? Was that like a BLM, Antifa? Was it
BLM?
That was BLM, and I didn't see any black people.
Looks like a garage sale in my neighborhood.
Look like a garage sale.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody was fighting over that cup for a nickel.
Yep.
I mean, I can't do garage sales. People will be like, "How much you want for this glass? A quarter?
A quarter.
I'll give you a nickel.
10 cents.
Why don't you just take it away? I don't want it back in the house. There's a reason my shit's on the lawn."
My neighbor used
like
to
I'm
go
not
to
doing this
garage
to make
sales.
money. I'm doing it so I want my stuff to become your shit.
True.
My neighbor would go to garage sales, buy stuff to sell in her garage
In their garage
sale.
sale. I know people that would do that. They would go and they would buy like all the remnants, everything that was left over from a garage sale that didn't sell. So, because that was their business, is garage sales.
Is
That's
the
how
purpose-
fights in the street happen.
Is the purpose of a garage sale though to make money or to get rid of your
Both.
crap?
Both.
Both.
Okay.
A lot of people do it to make money, and it becomes a good little business.
Americans are very, you guys are all about ingenuity. It doesn't that really that doesn't
Capitalist.
shock
God
me.
bless freedom. Candace.
Speaking of Steve and his knowledge of these kind of events, so I'm going to direct your attention to this picture. And on the right hand of your screen, it's someone who looks oddly like Steve with a backpack, the sandals, the offensive cargo shorts, the cap.
Offensive cargo shorts.
It does
Which
look like
one?
Steve, doesn't
What are
it?
y'all
Is that
talking
guy
about?
wearing Crocs?
I want to know where Steve was this past weekend.
That could be
Where
Steve
was
wearing.
I? Where was I at? I was in
Crocs.
Houston all weekend.
We were in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have anyone who can confirm that? Is
Yeah.
that-
there.
Well,
Yeah.
we unfortunately have a lot.
regrettably,
Several
regrettably.
thousand
But-
people saw me.
That could be a sign of things to come. That could be a sign of
If I
things to
shave
come right
my
there.
head, you'll know
Don't-
shit's getting real.
Listen, don't bring your violent protest crap around our show this weekend. We don't have any energy for all that stuff. And we're not going to do no hair pulling either. These protesters are crazy, man. Let's do this one. You see the one there burning Bibles? There they are. Look at them. Yeah, they're out there just burning the books and burning the Bibles. What did the Bible ever do to you?
Is this BLM or Nazis?
We don't know.
No, this is no.
It's
It
Black
says
Lives
Black
Matter
Lives
right
Matter.
there on the
There you go.
poster. All lives can't matter unless Black Lives Matter.
Tell that to Chicago.
Well, I mean, quit shooting each other. That's kind of the way that works. Quit aborting them. How about that? 85% of all Planned Parenthoods are within walking distance of an urban community. So why don't you stop that genocidal thing? But they're burning the Bibles. So, okay, look, at the end of the day, it's a book. It's a holy book. Some people revere it maybe a little more than others. Some people don't revere it at all. But anytime you get into book burning, period, it gets a little bit Nazi-ish.
So how do you get rid of a Bible, like an old one that's just like tore up kind of?
I just drop it in the trash, I guess.
Okay, I didn't know. If
I mean,
there
you
was-
understand, like, if you're going to get rid of a flag, you fold it and
Ceremony.
you burn it.
Okay, I
and
didn't
then
know
you
if a
bury
Bible
it.
had the same kind of deal or
That's
something.
different than desecrating it with
My
fire.
mother has about 75 Bibles. I guess one a
won't
year
get
for
rid
her
of 'em.
whole life. She'll have them forever.
Now, you notice what they're not doing, Sydney. They're not burning any Korans.
No, because that's probably a hate crime.
That would be a hate crime. And they would get their asses handed to them by the Muslim community. So here is why the so-called Christians aren't these violent racists like you assume they are. Because if they were, they would just come in there and shoot you for burning their Bibles, right?
I mean, they could do that, yeah.
But you have a freedom. Look, you got a freedom to do that. Unfortunately, you got a freedom to burn an American flag. I'm going to encourage you not to do that. Now, let me ask you this. What is more, and I'm going to catch some flack for this, honest question. What's more important to you in terms of offendedness, burning a Bible or burning the flag?
I'm not offended.
I'm not either, as long as it's not at my house. and it's
You
not
don't
mine.
deserve that space in my head. If you're the dumbass that did that, bye, Felicia.
But does it bother you they burn the flag?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not even born in this country and it bothers
it
me.
bothers me.
It bothers me when they do it to the Aussie flag too. Like when I see people burning or stomping on the Aussie flag, I'm like,
Well,
lose
people
respect.
died for that flag.
yeah, and that's the sense that you get.
Same way that ISIS would be pissed off if you burn their flag.
But ISIS, I mean, like, ISIS is different, though, because, I mean, like, I know they don't view themselves as a terrorist organization, but they are. And their whole entire purpose on planet Earth is to spread Islam through murdering
I
people.
think as Americans, we're just getting more and more used to that happening.
Yeah,
so it's just,
sensitized.
it's no big deal. They're burning the flag.
I don't think that.
I don't think that.
You're
thinking the average American.
I'm talking average American. Of course.
I
I'm
would
not talking
say
about
that right now the comment section is blowing up and saying they disagree with Steve. And I know that right now the folks watching this show disagree with Steve.
No.
But there are people out there who are like, okay, fine.
So you're saying it's being normalized,
It's
and
being-
therefore
that's
people
exactly
are
what
just.
I'm saying. I'm not saying for
Not that
our
Steve
viewers
feels
and our
that way.
people or I feel that way.
Patriots don't feel that way.
Patriots don't feel that way.
Right.
Matter of fact, yesterday the Flags for Our Vets came to my house. Thanks, Chad, being a part of that, and put a flagpole and a U.S. flag 20 feet high in the air in my front yard.
Looks good, too.
I think that, I think Americans generally, and this is obviously as an Aussie, I think you guys underestimate how pro-American and how pro the flag you guys actually are, because you drive around anywhere in the United States. Even when I was living in DC, you'll just see a buttload of American flags everywhere. So I think that sense of commitment to the flag is still there. Because in Australia, you don't see flags. It's just not a thing.
So I was talking to my agent in L.A. the other day. He's a conservative guy in the entertainment industry in Hollywood. He has to stay kind of quiet because of the business. But he called me yesterday on the phone. We were on the tour bus. We were coming back. And he said he was so encouraged because he went down to visit some people in Orange County, California. He said there were Trump flags everywhere.
Yeah.
He said there were American flags everywhere. He said, I'm starting to get some hope for
Good.
California. And I said, well, I've always had hope for California, but you just got to deal with those cities.
They're right on our
cities.
right on our crossroads at the interstate. Every day they have all the Trump flags out, and people are lined up buying Trump flags and stuff like that. So
You understand our opinion about the being offended. I just
Yes.
okay.
Yes, we were just talking.
We were huge, proud.
We were coming at it from
Americans.
two different angles. Like
Yes.
if you want to be a dumbass, I'm not offended.
Zero respect.
But I also want to box your ears. Right, I want to punch you,
but I'm not going to go
Correct.
physically
but
harm
I'm not
someone
going
else for
to
practicing.
Now,
their
if
right.
I'm standing there and you try to light a flag up in front of me, I'm gonna snatch that flag away, and then if you touch me, I'm gonna kick your ass.
That I agree
That's
with.
a different story.
I agree.
Right?
I
That's
agree.
a whole other thing.
I would pay to
loved
see
it.
that.
You know, when the
I would
FedEx
pay to
guy
see that.
a couple of years ago
Yes.
went and took the flag away and from them trying to burn it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
It's probably just the disrespect that's more frustrating to people than anything, I would say.
That's exactly right.
It's not necessarily I don't know. I can't speak for Americans because I'm not born and raised in this country, but I would say it's the disrespect over anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just sort of the perception that I
We
get.
live in a
and the vibe I
disrespectul
get.
culture. My thing has always been, if you don't honor something, you'll honor nothing. I mean, you got at some point in time, something's got to have some value to you. And it's also, the black community is by and large a community of faith. So to say Black Lives Matter and then to burn Bibles right there in front of them is actually a very large slight on the black community historically in America. I mean, you talk about the old Negro spirituals, the songs that the slaves sang. Even this so-called black national anthem is a hymn, right, that they're talking about using. That is a song of spiritual faith. So to burn a Bible and then have a sign that say Black Lives Matter kind of flies in the face philosophically of everything that you claim matters to them as a value.
BLM will tell you that religion is white man's religion. That's not.
Well, it's a Jewish religion, but I get that. I mean, and Jesus wasn't black. Jesus wasn't white, contrary to what the picture in Grandma's house showed. Jesus was a Jew. He was not an Ashkenazi Jew. He was a Sephardic Jew. There's a very big difference in that. The Jews of the Middle East today, those are Sephardic Jews. They are dark-skinned, brown-eyed Jews. The folks out in Hollywood, Ashkenazis. Okay. Hey, when we come back, I'm going to kill a minute here. When we come back, I'm going to show you a video that can be a little bit disturbing for some viewers. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that disclaimer. Sydney, I'm glad you're here. This is a fun discussion. We're going to get further into it. We're going to burn some more stuff when we come back. Hold tight. All right. As I said, before we get into this short video, it could be disturbing for some viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Candace, knock yourself out. So here are the protesters that are burning the head of a pig. Somebody had a barbecue, I guess. And of course, the whole point is, as we all know, right, being facetious, cops are pigs. So this was their statement right now of burning the pigs. So this is why I have a huge disagreement with people who want to say that they try to explain away the whole defund the police thing. When you've got F-12 and you've got ACAB and oink oink spray painted on buildings like they do in the Portland courthouse and stuff, then you're burning the head of a pig. We get the point what you're trying to say here when it comes to cops.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but did I see a flag in the foreground of that video that was burned?
Yeah.
You're just a piece of shit. You know, you are a piece of shit. If you're burning our flag, burning the Bible, you know, sending messages like this to cops, you are a piece of shit.
And by the way, the Revolutionary Communist Party leader did come out over the weekend and endorse Joe Biden for president. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Oh, that's really awkward.
Isn't it?
That's so awkward. I don't know how Biden's team are doing about that. They might be like, damage control.
So you throw it all. See, I've always taken the endorsement thing tongue in cheek.
Yes.
Anyway, with a grain of salt, because like David Duke endorsed Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump condemned David Duke 20 years ago, you know, as the head of the KKK.
Like, no.
No. Shh. Shut your face. Shut your face. The mouth hole. Shut your mouth hole. I'm going to need you to not let words come out of your mouth face hole. So when you got the Revolutionary Communist Party endorsing Joe Biden, tells you everything you need to know. Look, this is freedom versus Marxism. That's what we're up against. It's what we're up against in this country right now. You're up against it in Australia.
Yeah, way worse though.
Yeah.
It's way worse.
So it's scary. I mean, you take Bill de Blasio, Warren Wilhelm, who changed his name to Bill de Blasio. Warren Wilhelm is not Italian, but he still changed his name to Bill de Blasio. He's an avowed Marxist, right? The mayor of New York City is an avowed Marxist. He has been his entire life.
The thing that I don't get about when these people get into positions of power and authority is how they manage to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I just go like, your ideas suck. And people know that they suck. And I don't understand how they manage to keep getting the votes to stay in I just don't get it.
I don't either. It's the money.
I don't get it.
It's the buyouts. It's the power behind them. It is the lobbyists. It is the PACs. How many times do they worship the devil? I mean, who knows?
We have a lazy voter turnout in America.
I don't understand your voting system at all.
There are people that, you know, around the world, as far as percentage wise of voter turnout in countries that are able to vote, so much higher than the people, you know, Americans.
Well, to be fair though, it's compulsory in some countries. Like, it's compulsory in Australia. They will fine you. I got to fine the last election. It was $100. It's not happy, but they will fine you. But you guys don't have that. Actually, I mean, I guess that's a question. Do you think that it sort of goes against like a person's freedom of speech if you do make it compulsory to vote?
Yeah, I know. Again, because voting is not a right. Voting is a privilege in this country. So, you know, if it's a right, then there's certain things you can enforce that are there. But it's in our buddy Josh Hammer. He would, of course, come out with all the legal reasons on that. But it is it's a privilege in this country, and so as a privilege, you don't have to do it. It's amazing to me every 4 years or whatever, every 2 years, how many people come out and say, I'm 45 years old, I've never voted, I'm voting for the first time ever. That amazes me. I couldn't wait to turn 18 and be able to vote. You know, signed up for selective service, I signed up for the draft, signed up to vote, registered to vote. I mean, I did all that on my 18th birthday, and I was excited to be able to do that. So to me, that was
I think I missed 1 year of voting since I was 18.
Yeah, you were in jail.
Yeah.
Prison.
Harsh.
And speaking of people that piss you off, let's jump the gun here. Let's go over to something else here. And all of our favorites, Dr. Fauci. Go ahead, Candace.
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything you can imagine. I'm just asking you just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you.
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
Last week in the Calvary Chapel case, 5 liberals on the Supreme Court said it was okay for Nevada to limit church services. Justice Gorsuch said it best. He said, there's no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I'm just asking, is there a world where the Constitution says you can favor one First Amendment liberty, protesting, over another, practicing your faith?
I'm not favoring anybody over anybody. I'm just making a statement that's a broad statement that avoid crowds of any type, no matter where you are, because that leads to the acquisition and transmission. And I don't judge one crowd versus another crowd. When you're in a crowd, particularly if you're not wearing a mask, that induces the spread.
It's a simple question, Doctor. Should we limit the protests? Government is obviously limiting people going to church. And look, there's been no violence that I can see at church. I haven't seen people during a church service go out and harm police officers or burn buildings. But we know that, for 63 days, 9 weeks, it's been happening in Portland.
Right. Yeah.
Well, one night in Chicago, 49 officers were injured, but no limit to protests. But boy, you can't go to church on Sunday.
What was the? I don't know how many times I can answer that. I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm just going to tell you.
You've opined on a lot of things, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, but I've never.
This is something that directly impacts the spread of the virus, and I'm asking your position on the protest.
Yeah, I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm telling you what it is, the danger. And you can make your own conclusion about that. You should stay away from crowds, no matter where the crowds are.
Jim Jordan has big dick energy.
He does.
That's all I'm going to say. That dude, I love it, man.
He's on the MAGA Viagra.
He's on the MAGA Viagra. I'm telling you, the dude just doesn't. Fauci's such a worm. What are your thoughts, Sydney?
It's funny because one of my oldest friends works in like this sort of field. So every time I get into arguments with him about this, he's like, "Why do you hate Fauci?" I'm like, "The guy is a snake." Like he's been in this position or around people who have power and authority for so long, and he's gotten so much money out of it. And I think, what have you actually achieved besides like leveraging things for yourself? So I don't know. I think he's kind of creepy
and scared.
Well,
come on.
He's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But he doesn't have any problem telling you what to do. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Candace, run back over to that control board right there and hit this video. This lady pisses me off.
You're not supposed to wear them. That's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Even the school requires children under the age of 10 not to wear them. So why would I let them wear them? Why? It's being ridiculous. Y'all still. You're so ridiculous. You take care of yourself. Bye. You're going to kill me. That's such a great thing.
Go ahead and cut it. So here's this big old fat bitch, right? And she is yelling at the kids talking about, "I hope you all die." I'm just flabbergasted at these people. Somebody came at me the other day and said, "I'm not ready to die. You need to wear a mask." And I'm like, this woman weighed 400 pounds if she weighed 10. Mm-hmm. Now, this lady wasn't that big, but the lady that came at me did. And I'm like, you say you don't want to die, but you keep pumping them cheeseburgers in and
heart disease
and funneling grease and gravy. And you're going to tell me that because some kid's walking around the supermarket that not without a mask on? Do you know how much germs those kids have on them anyway? You've been around dirty, nasty-ass kids your whole life, picking their nose and rubbing boogers on stuff and licking the Lucky Charms box and putting them back on the shelf, and you're worried about that? I hate people.
I did that yesterday.
Except Texans that are going to vote for me. I love y'all. Who sells the kids? I hope you die.
I bet that lady dies before any of them kids.
Before them kids?
Yeah, heart disease.
Before them kids?
A shout.
I don't know, man. You know, we say all this tongue-in-cheek, but what has happened to humanity?
It's not anybody's job to go police anybody. If you don't own the business, you don't confront anybody anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's fear-mongering, too. Once you tell people for long enough that they're all going to die if they, like, even look at another person, they're going to tell kids that they hope they die.
Those poor babies.
Yeah.
WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Come see us, Salt Lake City. Woo, we're going to rock and roll. We love y'all. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.